You are listening to PastThink.com audiobook. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Chapter 13. The red-haired devil has a drunken sleep at the Lingguan temple. Chao Gai, the heavenly king, administers justice at the Dongxi village. As we have said, when Lei Heng reached the Lingguan temple he saw a big man sleeping on the altar table, whom the soldiers bound with ropes. Lei Heng said, I will take this fellow to the village chief Chao, and ask for a meal there, and then we'll take him on to the county magistrate to be examined. So the party came to the chief's village. The chief of the village was named Chao Gai, whose ancestors had been wealthy men. He was generous and hospitable, and was particularly fond of making friends with heroes from all parts of the empire. He offered hospitality to whomsoever came to his village, no matter of what character the strangers were, and if they wanted to leave they were given money and assistance. Chao Gai was very fond of exercising with the spear and cudgel, so that his body was very strong. He had no wife, and he spent all his time in developing his muscles. On the east side of Yunqing County were two villages, Dongxi and Sisi, and they were separated by a stream. Formerly at the Sisi village there were demons who decoyed men into the stream, and once there was no help for them. But one day a monk happened to pass that way, and the people of the village told him all about the demons. He selected a place, and told them to erect there a pagoda of grey stone, and it would protect them from the demons in the stream. When this had been done the demons went to the Dongxi village, and Chao Gai was very angry about this. So he picked up the pagoda, and carried it across the river. Because of this the people called him Chao Gai, the heavenly king who can carry a pagoda on the palm of his hand. He had great influence over those villages, and was well known among the bandits. On the day referred to, Lei Heng, with his militia, and their prisoner, arrived at the village, and knocked at the gate. The gatekeepers heard this, and reported the matter to the village chief. At the time Chao Gai was still in bed, but when he heard that Inspector Lei Heng had arrived he gave orders for the gate to be opened immediately. The gatekeepers did this, and the soldiers took the prisoner to the guardroom near the gate, and tied him up there. Lei Heng took about 10 of his best men, to the guest hall where they sat down. When Chao Gai entered he received them with the usual inquiries, and then asked on what public business they had come there. Lei Heng replied, the magistrate gave orders to myself and Zhu Tong to take soldiers to the villages, and arrest any bandits we found. We have traveled a good distance, and feeling tired we came to your village for a rest. I am afraid that we have disturbed the sweet dreams of the chief. Chao Gai said that did not matter. He then ordered the servants to prepare food and wine. He then asked whether Lei Heng had succeeded in arresting any brigand in that village. Lei Heng replied, I found a man at the Lingguan temple, and as he appeared to be in a drunken sleep, and not of good character, I arrested him. I brought him here so that you might know all about the affair, as I was afraid that it would be inconvenient for you not to know of the matter when the county magistrate tries the case. He is now tied up in the guardroom near the gate. Chao Gai bore this remark in mind and thanked him for reporting the matter. In a short time the servants brought in the food and wine. Chao Gai said, this room is not a good place to discuss matters in, and therefore we had better go into a hall at the back of this. He then ordered the servants to light the lamps in another room, and requested the inspector to go and have a drink there. On arrival there Chao Gai took his seat in the position of a host, while Lei Heng sat down as a guest. The servants brought in the fruit, wine, vegetables, and other food, and then stood at the side serving the wine. Chao Gai sent the servants with some wine for the soldiers. The servants did this, and also asked the soldiers to go to another room outside, where the servant attended to their wants, bringing them a large tray of meat, and a large bowl of wine. While Chao Gai was pressing Lei Heng to take some wine he was thinking who the man could be who had been arrested, and how he could go to see who it was. When they had drunk about 7 cups of wine Chao Gai summoned a steward, and told him to stay with the guest while he went to the toilet. Chao Gai then got a lamp, and going outside saw that there was no one about as all the soldiers had gone to drink wine. He went to the gatekeeper, and asked where the thief brought there by Inspector Lei Heng was tied up. The gatekeeper said that the thief was imprisoned in the guardroom near the gate. Chao Gai went to the guardroom, and upon pushing open the door saw inside a man hanging from a great height. He saw that his flesh was dark and also that his feet were bare and were covered with black hair. Holding up his lamp he saw that his face was very broad and also discolored. Near his temple was a red birthmark with black and yellow hair growing from it. Chow Gai asked him, "Where do you come from? I have not seen you at this village before." The man replied, "I came from a distant place to look for a man here, and was arrested as a thief, but I can give a full explanation." Chow Gai asked, "Whom did you come to find in this village?" The man said, "I came here to find a hero." What was the name of the hero? The man replied that he had come to find a village chief called Chow. What business had you with him that you were trying to find him? The man replied, "He is famous everywhere as a hero. Just now I have a matter that may result in riches or influence, and that is what I want to talk with him about." Chow Gai said, "You need not say anything more, I am the village chief, Chow Gai. The way I can help you is that you recognize me when Inspector Lei Heng leaves here, as your maternal uncle, and I will also recognize you as my nephew. You can say that you left here when you were only about 5 years old, and in returning to find me you forgot the place where I lived." The man replied, "If in this matter you assist me I shall never forget your kindness. I request you to help me." Chow Gai picked up the lantern, and leaving the guardroom, closed the door after him. Going to the room where Lei Heng was seated, he said to him, "I must apologize for leaving you alone so long." Lei Heng politely replied, "I have not been right in giving you so much trouble." They drank together several cups of wine before they saw the rays of early dawn entering through the window. Lei Heng then remarked that it was already dawn, and that he must go as he had to report in the magistrate's yamen by dawn. Chow Gai said, "As you are on official business I cannot of course detain you. But should you at any time have any business near this village I hope that you will pay me a visit." Lei Heng said, "I will certainly pay you a visit, but I request that you will not now accompany me." Chow Gai said, "Very good, I will only go a short distance to the gate of this farm." They both went outside. The soldiers had finished their wine and food, and now taking their spears and cudgels they went to the guardroom, and released the prisoner, tied his hands behind his back, and then took him outside the gate. When Chow Gai saw the prisoner he said, "What a big man." Lei Heng said, "This is the man who was arrested as a thief at the Lingguan temple." He had hardly finished speaking when the prisoner called out, "Uncle, save me." Chow Gai pretended to look at him carefully, and shouted, "Hello. Can this be Wang III?" The man replied, "I am." "Uncle, save me." All the men were surprised. Lei Heng asked Chow Gai, "Who is this man? How is it that he recognizes you?" Chow Gai said, "Oh, that is my nephew called Wang III. But how was it that he took rest in a temple? He is my sister's son, and previously lived here. When he was about 5 years old he went with his parents to Nanjing, and 10 years later he paid us a visit here. A man from Nanjing came with him to buy some things, but since that time I have not seen Wang III. From other men I heard that he had become a useless individual. But why has he come here now? At first I did not know him, but now I recognize him because of the birthmark on his temple." Then turning to the prisoner he asked Young Third, "Why did you not come to see me in a straightforward way instead of arriving as a thief?" The man replied, "Uncle, I am not a thief." Chow Gai asked, "If you are not a thief, what were you arrested for?" Saying this he took a cudgel from a soldier and struck the man on his head and face. Lei Heng urged Chow Gai not to beat the man, but to wait and hear what he had to say. The man said, "Uncle, do not be angry, but listen to me. When I came here I was only 15 years old, and is that not 10 years ago? Yesterday I drank much wine on the way, so that I was not in a condition to visit you. When these soldiers came to arrest me they did not ask me any questions. I am certainly not a thief." Chow Gai again raised the cudgel to beat him, and reviled him, saying, "You beast. Instead of coming straightforwardly to visit me, you indulged your vile appetite for the yellow soup, wine. If you had come to me, would I not have given you wine to drink? What a disgrace! Lei Heng said, Chief. Do not get angry. Your nephew may not be a thief. We saw him sleeping in a strange way in a temple, and as we did not know him, we were suspicious, and arrested him. If we had known that he was your nephew, we would not have arrested him. He then ordered his soldiers to untie the ropes and deliver the prisoner to the chief. The soldiers did so, and released the prisoner. Lei Heng then spoke to Chao Gai, You must not blame me. If I had known before that he is your nephew, I would not have committed such a serious mistake. We must now go back to the town. Chao Gai said, Inspector, do not go yet. Please come inside as I have something to say to you. They both then went into the guest's chamber where Chao Gai gave Lei Heng 10 taels of silver, and then said, Inspector, this is only a small present, but I trust that you will accept it. There is no need for such things. If you do not accept it, you must feel unsatisfied with it. Lei Heng said, As you are so generous, I will accept it, but I will recompense you later on. Chao Gai told the prisoner to salute Lei Heng, then he gave some money to the soldiers, and accompanied Lei Heng to the gate. Lei Heng saluted Chao Gai, and departed with his men. Chao Gai took the prisoner into a room, and gave him clothes and a cap. He then asked him for his name, and where he came from. The man said, My name is Lu Tang, and I am a native of East Luzhou Prefecture. But people call me the red-haired demon, because of my birthmark. I came here to tell you about a matter of great importance. Yesterday evening I stayed in the temple and got drunk. I did not expect to be arrested by these men, and to be brought here as a prisoner. But fortunately today I am here. Elder brother, please be seated, and agree to receive my salute 4 times. This being done, Chao Gai said, You now tell me where is the thing that will give me wealth and influence. Lu Tang said, Since I was a boy I have rambled about everywhere, and have been particularly fond of making friends with heroes. I always heard of your fame, but never had a chance to come and see you. I also knew some merchants who did illegal buying and selling in both Shandong and Hebei provinces. I also heard that many of them sought refuge with you, and therefore I decided to mention this important matter to you, and if there is no stranger here, I can now tell you everything. Chao Gai said, All the people here are my confidants, so there is no need for any further delay in your speaking to me. Lu Tang said, I have heard that Grand Secretary Liang, the commander-in-chief at Daming, the northern capital, has bought gold articles, pearls, and other valuables to the value of 100,000 strings of cash, which he will send to the eastern capital for presentation as a birthday gift to his father-in-law, Prime Minister Kai. Last year he also sent similar presents, but they were stolen by bandits, and so far the culprits have not been arrested. It has not been fixed on what date this year's presents will be dispatched, but they should reach their destination before the birthday, which is the 15th day of the 6th month. I think this is ill-gotten money, so why should we not take it? We had better think of some plan of seizing these presents on the road. Even if heaven knows of the matter, our act will not be regarded as a crime. I have heard of your fame, and think that your military training will ensure success to the scheme. I have no skill, but I know something of fighting. It is needless to mention only 3 or 5 men, because if there were 2,000 mounted soldiers, I would not be afraid of them even if I had only 1 spear. But if you think that my skill is not of much use, I shall be willing to assist you if you will take me. What do you think of the matter? Chao Gai said, Bravo. We must discuss the matter. But I am afraid that you have experienced much suffering on your way here, so better go to the guest chamber where you can rest, and tomorrow we will discuss the matter. Chao Gai then ordered the servant to conduct Lu Tang to the guest chamber. In the guest chamber Lu Tang meditated. Why did I come here and so experience all this misery? If it had not been for the intervention of Chao Gai, I should not have been released. I do not like Lei Heng, who falsely accused me of being a thief, and caused me to be hung here for the night. As he cannot have gone very far, I will get a stick and pursue him. When I catch up to them I will knock them all down, and get back the silver. This will avenge my wrong. This is an excellent plan. He then went outside and got a halberd out of the rack. Leaving by the gate, he went along the southern road with big strides. The day was quite bright, and very soon he saw in the distance Lei Heng and his men, and soon caught up to them. Upon reaching them, Lu Tang shouted out, "Hey, Inspector, you need not try to get away." Lei Heng was surprised at hearing this, and turning round he saw Lu Tang armed with a halberd. He quickly took a halberd from one of his men, and shouted, "What are you following us for?" Lu Tang said, "You understand the matter. You must give me those 10 taels of silver, and then I won't attack you." Lei Heng said, "The money was given to me by your uncle, so what have you got to do with it? I would have certainly killed you but for your uncle. And yet you ask me for the money." "I am not a thief, and yet you hanged me for one night," said Lu Tang. "You deceived my uncle of the 10 taels of silver. You know this is the case, and you had better give me the money, then I will regard your past deeds with leniency. But if you do not give me the money, I will spill some of your blood." Lei Heng was very angry, and pointing at Lu Tang he cursed him, saying, "You lying thief, who brings disgrace and ruin to your family. You have no decency, but how dare you talk like this?" Lu Tang replied, "You deceiver of the people with your vile skill. How dare you curse me?" Lei Heng continued his cursing. "You are a wanton thief from your head to the soles of your feet. You are certainly implicating Chao Gai. You have a thief's disposition, but this kind or thing I will not allow." Lu Tang was also angry, and he shouted out, "I came here to give you a good hiding." He seized his halberd and advanced towards Lei Heng. Lei Heng only laughed at him, and also advanced with his halberd. They met at the side of the road, where they fought for a long time, without either getting an advantage. When the soldiers saw that Lei Heng had not defeated Lu Tang, they were on the point of coming to his assistance when a gate in a bamboo fence was opened, and a man came out carrying in his hand 2 copper wires. The man said, "You two are fine men, and must not fight any more. I have been watching you fight for a long time. You take a rest, and listen to what I have to say." So saying, he placed the wires between the 2 men. The latter withdrew, and stood a little distance away from each other. They looked at the man, and saw that he was dressed as a scholar. He was wearing a cap low down on his brow, a large loose-fitting gown of hempen cloth with a black border, an official belt of the color of tea, silk shoes, and clean socks. His eyebrows and eyes had an elegant appearance, his mustache was long and his face white. His name was Wu Yong, and his nickname was Clever Star. His fancy name was the Inquisitive or Critical Student. His Taoist name was Much Brighter. His grandfather was a native of that place. Taking the copper wires in his hand, he pointed at Lu Tang and said, "You stop a bit. Why are you fighting with that inspector?" Lu Tang looked closely at Wu Yong and said, "It has nothing to do with you, Shiutsai scholar." 59. Lei Heng said, "You, sir, do not know. That fellow slept in a temple without wearing any clothes last night. I arrested him, and took him to the village of the village chief, Chao Gai. There we found that he was a nephew of Chao Gai, and I then released him because of what his uncle said. Chao Gai invited me to drink wine with him, and then presented me with some silver. This fellow evidently did not know about that, and came here to get the money back. Do you think that he is brave?" Wu Yong meditated. "From my youth Chao Gai has been my friend, and whenever he had any business he always discussed it with me first. I knew all his relatives, but I have not met this nephew before. Moreover, this man seems too old to be Chao Gai's nephew, and that looks strange. So I will stop the fight and afterwards ask him about the matter." Wu Yong then spoke to the man, "You must not be insistent. Your uncle is a good friend of mine, and is also on friendly terms with this inspector. He has made a present to this inspector, and your demanding the return of it will cause your uncle to lose face. I will be responsible for this matter, and will speak to your uncle about it." "Scholar, you do not understand," said Lu Tang. "My uncle did not willingly give the inspector this silver, and the latter deceived my uncle. If he does not give me the money, I shall not go back. If Chief Chao Gai, will come here himself. I will hand him the money, said Lei Heng, but I will not give it to you. You falsely accused me of being a thief, said Lu Tang, and got money by false pretense, so why should you not return the money? Lei Heng replied, because it is not your money. I will not give it to you. As you will not give me the money, said Lu Tang, then you had better ask the halberd in my hand whether it will agree to that procedure. You two men have been fighting for a long time, said Wu Yong, without either of you losing or winning. So how long will it take you to finish the fighting? As he will not give me the money, said Lu Tang, I will risk my life, and one of us will die. Lei Heng was very angry and said, I am not afraid of you, and I would not even order my soldiers to come and help me to fight with you. In any case, I will certainly knock you down with my halberd. Lu Tang was also angry upon hearing this, and slapping his chest he shouted, I am not afraid of you. I am not afraid, and at the same time advanced. Lei Heng also advanced, and both men were soon close together. But Wu Yong stepped between to stop the fight. Lu Tang tried to edge his way round Wu Yong, while Lei Heng continued to curse him as a thief. The soldiers, however, just then called out, the chief is coming. Lu Tang turned round to look, and saw Chao Gai with his dress in loose disorder. Upon arriving there, Chao Gai called out, you beast! Do not act in such an impolite way. Wu Yong laughed at this and said, sure enough, the chief has arrived, and he is the only man who can settle this dispute. When Chao Gai had regained his breath, he said, why are you two men fighting? Your nephew took a halberd and demanded that I should give him the money, said Lei Heng. I told him that I would give you the money as it was not his business. He fought with me a long time. This scholar then intervened and stopped the fight. What a beast, said Chao Gai. I did not know that he was doing this. Inspector, will you please go now, and by I will come to your home and apologize. Lei Heng said, I knew that this man was making trouble, and I did not want to have anything to do with him. We have caused you much inconvenience in coming so far. He then took his departure. Wu Yong said, sir, if you had not come here there would have been a big fight. This nephew of yours is a most extraordinary fellow. His military skill is quite good. I was inside the bamboo fence watching them fight. The inspector Lei Heng used the halberd with great skill, but could not win, and had to defend himself from the thrusts and blows of his opponent. And I was afraid that Lei Heng might get killed, and so I intervened. But where does your nephew come from? I have never seen him before in the village. Chao Gai said, you had better come to my house where I can explain matters to you. I was just going to send a servant with a message for you, when I noticed that Lu Tang had gone, and that there was a halberd missing from the rack. A cowherd said that he had seen a big man taking a halberd from the rack, and then going straight to the south road. I therefore immediately set out after him, but before I arrived you had stopped the fighting. I beg that you will now come to my house where we can discuss matters. Wu Yong took the copper wires and placed them in the library of the house within the bamboo fence. He then spoke to the master of the house, when my pupil comes please tell him that I have a little business to attend to and he can have a holiday today. He then took the key and locked the door of the library. He joined Chao Gai and Lu Tang, and they all went to the Dongxi village. Chao Gai invited them to enter a room at the back where they all sat down. Wu Yong asked, Chief, who is this man? He is a good man named Lu Tang, said Chao Gai, and he is a East Lu's Ho man. He has information about a promising enterprise and came here to tell me about it. Last night he was drunken, and slept in the Lingguan temple where he was arrested by Lei Heng, and so brought to my village. I pretended to recognize him as a nephew of mine, and so he was released. He says that at Daming, the commander-in-chief, Grand Secretary Liang, has purchased 100,000 strings of cash worth of gold articles, pearls, and other valuables which he is sending to his father-in-law, Prime Minister Kai at the eastern capital. These valuables will pass this way. This wealth has been ill-gotten, so do you think we might get it? His arrival seems to be the fulfillment of a dream. Last night I dreamt that the northern dipper of 7 stars descended to my house. With it was a crowd of smaller stars which vanished, leaving a track of light behind. I think this augurs some good fortune for my family. So now I would like to have your opinion of this affair. Wu Yong laughed and said, I thought that Lu Tang's arrival was very strange, and I suspected that there was something in it. Now it is a thing which neither too many nor too few men can do. At your homestead there are many visitors, but not one of them may be used. But you, Chief, the brother Lu, and myself cannot settle this matter ourselves, and in spite of your strength we must get some assistance. But we do not need more than 7 or 8 heroes with us. Chao Gai said, in my dream there were certainly only 7 stars. Wu Yong said, this dream is very important. May it not mean that someone here will come to your assistance? He then thought for a few minutes when a plan occurred to him, and he called out, I have got the man. I have him. Chao Gai said, as you have found a reliable man we had better invite him to come here at once. Wu Yong then slowly explained his plan, using his 2 forefingers to emphasize his remarks, which would result in many heroes leaving Dongxi village and becoming brigands. Justice seekers turn to highwaymen. Warships are made of fishing boats. Fine speeches running from versatile lips. Lead bravos at will by the nose. We will now relate what men were collected by Wu Yong, the clever star. Footnote 59 Xiucai, elegant talent, the lowest rank of degree achieved in the imperial examination system. A graduate of the county level examinations.